Hello friends, I'm Gaurav, and today, even though science is quite advanced, there are still some parts of our Earth that we haven't been able to understand yet. We're talking about the oceans, which cover 3/4 of the Earth's surface. It is widely believed that today we know far more about outer space, but conversely, when it comes to the vast oceans, we truly have very little idea what profound mysteries are still hidden in their perpetually dark depths. We all know about the deepest place in the ocean, called the Mariana Trench, which is a massive trench stretching about 2,550 kilometers inside the Pacific Ocean. The average depth of this trench is about 8 kilometers. But within this trench, there is another massive and even deeper pit that has astonished scientists. This pit goes 3 kilometers deeper than the Mariana Trench itself, making it a total of 11 kilometers deep from the ocean surface. For comparison, even the tallest thing on Earth, Mount Everest, is only 8.8 kilometers high. That means even if you were to submerge it completely, this trench would still be more than 2 kilometers deeper. The existence of this trench was first discovered in 1842 by the British Royal Navy's HMS Challenger, and that's why it was named Challenger Deep. Since then, up until the 23rd of January 1960, this trench did not let scientists rest easy. You can imagine for yourself, such a deep trench, who knows what kinds of creatures might be here. But finding and discovering them in a place like this is no easy task. But in 1960, Lieutenant Don Walsh and Jacques Piccard showed the courage to do just that and set out in an underwater submersible to search for life at this depth. After traveling continuously for 5 hours in their submersible, they finally reached the bottom. And as you can imagine, it was pitch dark down there. These two researchers got to work on their investigation, and down there they saw such bizarre species that it confirmed there is life even 11 kilometers beneath the ocean, and it is completely different from what's found at the surface. But this wasn't the main point. In Jacques Piccard's observation diary, it was found written that while they were down there, they witnessed something extremely strange. Through their observation porthole, they saw a huge, bizarre thing that was following them. But after following them for a while, it left on its own. Both of them were extremely nervous, because if that gigantic thing had accidentally collided with them and their bathyscaphe had broken, it would have been impossible for them to survive in the 11-kilometer deep, pitch-dark depths of the ocean, where the pressure is 1,000 times greater than at the surface. And besides, these researchers were far from the underground mountains of the trench. They were on a flat, rocky area. So it was certain that such a gigantic thing could only be some unseen or undiscovered creature. Then in 1985, when another experiment was conducted and a test vehicle was sent down 11 kilometers, that experimental vehicle was tied with an iron cable so that the researchers could maintain a firm grip on it. But as soon as it reached 11 kilometers deep, within moments, the researchers began to feel as if something was grabbing the vehicle from below and pulling it toward itself. The force was extremely powerful, and even though the researchers tried to pull the vehicle back up, it wouldn't budge from its place. A few hours later, the tugging finally stopped, and the researchers were able to successfully bring the vehicle back up. But when they saw the condition of the vehicle, they were stunned. The vehicle had been completely wrecked, and there were huge bite marks all around it. Just by looking at it, it was clear that some gigantic creature had tried to eat it. Some of the steel cables were also found broken, which clearly indicated that this creature was extremely powerful. Then, after measuring the size and strength of the teeth, it was discovered that 11 kilometers beneath the sea, where 99% of species wouldn't survive, even a second, it was possible that one of the world's two ancient prehistoric creatures was hiding. Creatures we had believed to be extinct for 1.5 million years. These two species are the ancient crocodile mosasaurus, or the gigantic and dangerous shark megalodon. Both of these creatures were extremely dangerous and massive, at least 3 to 4 times bigger than today's great white shark, and nearly 50 times more powerful as well. But are they really still alive? Well, scientists can't answer this question with absolute certainty, because these creatures have never been seen again. And from a scientific perspective, it's not possible for such massive creatures to survive 11 kilometers deep in the ocean. They wouldn't be able to withstand that much pressure, and they couldn't survive by eating only small creatures. But it's also possible that the creature just wandered there, or came for a brief visit for a few moments. This secret has been buried in the files for now. To know the real truth, we'll have to wait a few more years. But this isn't the only mystery that's troubling scientists. In fact, this one is still possible to solve. But the incident that happened in 1977 in the Pacific Ocean completely shocked the scientists. NOAA, that is, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, recorded a frequency of a sound coming from beneath the ocean that seemed to be from a living creature. But this sound was not from any ordinary creature. The frequency of this particular sound traveled an astonishing distance, almost 6,000 kilometers, to ultimately reach the sensitive underwater microphones, which was truly hard to believe. This is precisely how the sound was eventually heard. Now, the frequency of the world's largest animal, the blue whale, can only be heard up to 1,500 kilometers away. But since the sound of this creature traveled such a great distance, it was estimated that this creature must be at least 5 times larger than a blue whale. Now, I don't know about you, but just hearing this is enough to blow your mind. For comparison, here is a human, and here is the blue whale, 100 feet long and weighing 200 tons. Now, if there were a creature 5 times larger than that, it would look something like this. Just thinking about it feels strange, right? In terms of size, it looks just like some monster like a kraken or leviathan. But in 2012, scientists actually stated that sounds of such frequencies could also be produced by icebergs breaking off and falling into the water. But is that really the truth behind that incident? Well, I don't know. What do you think? By the way, till today we've only been able to explore 5% of our oceans. The remaining 95% is completely undiscovered. Scientists believe that as of now, we are only familiar with 14% of marine species, and the rest remain a mystery beneath this vast wet blanket. So, what is your opinion on this topic? Do you think there are creatures in the ocean that are many times larger than the blue whale? Are the things mentioned in religious texts true? Be sure to comment below. We would love to know your thoughts.